What's going on, sports fans? Once again, it's K-Stu the GOAT from Vernon Speak Sports, talking mostly about Auburn football and the rest of the SEC. Want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang, Good Morning and War Eagle. Now, Auburn's offense sputtered very extensively last year, especially against high consequential SEC football games like LSU, Georgia, and Alabama. As a matter of fact, Alabama and Georgia only having close to 300 yards is just not going to cut it. Also, only having about 17 minutes of time of possession isn't going to cut it as well. Well, what happened to Auburn's offense? Well, one thing is for sure is I believe there was a conflict with the play calling between a conflict in philosophies, and you could tell that by the hesitance of the personnel. I don't really think they had confidence in what they were being asked to do, and usually that's predicated by second guessing, by not really having a firm plan as to what they're going to do. Because you look at their offense and at one moment you got tempo going, then the next moment you want to it slows down. So it really slowed down the rhythm and the ingenuitive nature of this offense. So when Gus Malzahn decided to call plays against Purdue, I was like, okay, at least we know there's one play caller. I was pretty sure that they were going to have a high level of success because Gus Malzahn is excellent at utilizing his personnel to create mismatches, and his timing on a lot of plays is absolutely perfect. Because when Gus Malzahn did call plays, Auburn was really productive on offense. They were able to move the ball. They could score on virtually anyone, scoring 44 points against Alabama with that run-pass option. Now, there's some key elements that have to be in place. First of all, you have to have some relatively experienced personnel that understand what it is that the Gus Malzahn run-pass option is trying to accomplish. Now, number one, a lot of analysts, a lot of fans really discounted the extent to which Will Hastings and Eli Stove were terribly missed last year. One thing about both of these guys is they create just unlikely mismatches. They are so fast and they're so smart, so quick, that it really makes a secondary uneasy having to guard quick guys like this, in addition to already having to account for a strong run game. And they would have been able to help Jarrett Stidham, for example. If you remember last year, there was a lot of times where the offensive line was doing their job, but there was nothing open downfield. One of the reasons why there was nothing open downfield because the routes were predictable, because the route running is based on the predication that the run-pass option is clicking. Those intermediate routes, some of those deep routes, some of those crossing routes are open because of the off-balance nature of the run-pass option. The way the run-pass option can get even the best defense off balance is why some of those things were open. So just think about the Georgia game. When Kerryon Johnson got going and he became a threat, Jarrett Stidham somewhat even became a threat with the run-pass option. That opened up a whole nother can of worms with the passing game, and that's something that you should expect this year with the return of Will Hastings and Eli Stove, in addition to Sal Cannella, Seth Williams, and Schwartz. Now, that guy is super fast. And then we also have Matthew Hill, which he should emerge as a threat as well to replace Ryan Davis and Darius Slayton. So when I look at this, I think Gus Malzahn's offense is really going to have a very, very good year. And they're going to have a good year because they're getting the pieces to the puzzle back. Eli Stove and Will Hastings provide just a mismatch that you wouldn't believe, especially in the intermediate routes with those outside linebackers who are fast, but they're just not quick enough to contain Eli Stove and Will Hastings in those intermediate routes. Once the run-pass option gets going and passing lanes begin to become open, those deep routes like the one from the LSU game where Eli Stove was wide open, Those plays where Darius Slayton was absolutely wide open, those plays are going to be back on the table now on a very, very high level. Because you can't stop. Gus Malzahn's offense has so many moving parts that you just can't stop everything. Because I look at this going into the Oregon game for Auburn. That gives this return of Eli Stove and Will Hastings gives Auburn an incredible advantage, because now that gives Oregon extra film that they don't have on Will Hastings and Eli Stove from last season. And that's going to be something they're absolutely going to have to account for. Just like Purdue had no way of knowing how the Gus Malzahn, coached offense with Gus Malzahn calling plays. They had no idea what to prepare for. I mean, you already don't know what to prepare for real anyway, but to have a whole season of basically seeing an anemic offense on tape, you just about have to reference games of the past of Gus Malzahn to get a real feel for how, say, that game was going to go. I mean, it just made it unfair in the preparation, because you're looking at, an offense that's averaging 200 and something yards against Georgia and Alabama. But now here it is, Gus Malzahn is back with the steering wheel. So either way, when I look at this, I really think Eli Stove and Will Hastings is going to continue to add that element of speed and, very dangerous speed to that scary speed that a lot of teams and a lot of fans out here who have a lot of disdain for Auburn and, Auburn is falling apart and Gus Malzahn is an idiot and all that other stuff, they're going to be in for a rude awakening, because when Gus Malzahn has a viable dual threat quarterback that can even throw the ball a little bit, I mean, that's why I think the quarterbacks that we have coming up, with them having the threat to run, if they can throw the ball a little bit, we will be absolutely fine at this run pass option going into 2019. All right, once again, it's Case through the GOAT for Vernon Speaks Sports, mostly talking about Auburn football and the rest of the SEC. Want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang, War Eagle. Like, comment, and subscribe. You all take it easy.